when people talk about resilience outside Gaza specifically, or like promoting resilience or resilient narrative, is that they use it sometimes, I'm not saying in bad intentions, but sometimes they are dehumanizing the Palestinians.
What the word dehumanization mean? Like humanization, you are human. Dehumanization, you are not a human. The word resilience makes us dehumanized as superheroes. Superman is not a human. He is superhero. Superhero is not a human. And going back to the word resilience, dehumanizing us by making us superheroes. What does that mean? Is that we can tolerate more.
Yeah.
What we can tolerate more? Elevated level of starvation, of bombing, of loss, of grief. It's criticized by being a Western concept that is imposed on societies like our societies, on colonized societies, on societies who suffer structural violence, oppression, occupation, annihilation, genocide.
Welcome back to Falasteeniya, the world's first Palestinian-led podcast dedicated to examining the gender dynamics of Israeli violence in Palestine. Today's guest is Bahzad Ziyad. He is a friend, Chevening alumnus, and a genocide survivor who spent 2 years of the genocide in Gaza. Dr. Bahzad is a Palestinian medical doctor, community mental health provider, and he has done his master's here in the UK. And he has returned after that to Gaza to serve the community of Gaza and helping them, where he was caught by the Israeli genocide for 2 years. And this is the first time Dr. Bahzad is speaking to the Western media about his exclusive story and life within Gaza genocide. We're so happy and honored to have him with us today. So, Dr. Bahzad, thank you so much for joining us today. Today we'll be talking about your own experience within the genocide. You're the first guest to have that spent like 2 years of the genocide in Gaza. And we'll be talking about your capacity as expert in mental health, the experiences that you have, challenges of mental health in Gaza, but also to understand, like some resonated mental health problems globally with the world and also the people who are watching and bear witness for the genocide. At the beginning, could you tell us more about your experience in the genocide, the 2 years of the genocide that you have witnessed?
Thank you, Hala. Thank you for having me today and for this great introduction. My PhD topic is collective resilience of frontline workers in extreme warfare context. The case of Gaza, and before going to that question, I just want to tell that I still don't believe that I've been here in the UK. This is my third month here after the 2 years genocide. At some point at our evacuation campaign, I reached out to you. I reached out to friends in the UK, asking for their help in helping our advocacy, like our campaign for the students to be evacuated. Although I had a very minimal hope of at that time, but it came true, and we are sitting here doing this podcast today.
It happened. You were the first one who reached out to me asking to, interview the students inside Gaza for the campaign. And alhamdulillah, now we have you here.
Yeah, alhamdulillah. So thinking about genocide, I continuously have these two thoughts. First one is it's a never-ending day, just very long day, and the other thought, it's very brief. It's at times I don't believe it's 2 years.
Yeah.
I think, and I was speaking about this, I think we lost the perception of time.
Yeah.
We have these two timing processes, and it depends on the current discussion or the current feeling or the current talk. You will be seeing me speak about the 2 years as 200 years.
Yeah.
And maybe another discussion just 2 hours. And that is evident because like I had memories during the 2 years that I thought I will not be able to remember them. Like recently I were remembering them. I was remembering them. And now I can see the genocide like as phases. Like the first one is from October 7th till 5th of December, the day we left our house in Khan Yunis. And from 5th of December to 6th of May 2024, the day we returned back to Al Mawasi area to Khan Yunis.
Yeah.
And from 6 May 2024 till March 2025, the day I received the result of my PhD award. And from that date to the day of evacuation and until now, like I think of it as this timing milestone. Now I can remember the first 2 months where like we're filled with that uncertainty. It was mad, like it started in Gaza, North Gaza mainly. They have been ordered to evacuate to the south. Our house
Yeah.
is in the south. We didn't live the toll of, like, let's say, military war, but we started to live the humanitarian catastrophe at the first 2 months. Like markets were going extremely short of goods. And the first, I like when I'm thinking about that first 2 months, I can remember two things. The first one is the tragic loss of our friend
Yeah.
Maisara, 5th of November, 2023. Ahmad's family. And the second thing is the first plane flower crisis.
Yeah.
The second point, which is plane flower crisis, like 4th of December, I went to UNRWA distribution site. And I was the most crowded scene I've ever seen in my life. Like, I barely could put my foot in the ground. I were there around 9 a.m.
Oh.
Trying to get our share of a plain flour. Before war, like this was happening in a monthly basis or 3 monthly basis for refugee citizens, like people who got this refugee document from from UNRWA. But as a result of war, all of it went into chaos, and it was our share. And I was trying to get it for our family because I have two sisters,
Yeah.
two married sisters with one have five siblings, the other two not okay. So seven child
Children.
members,
Oh.
yeah, added to our family, and like husbands of my sisters are abroad. Like one of them just left 2 weeks before, and
Okay.
one of them, and the other one was 3 months like earlier. So they came to our house like at the first day, and like skewering a plain flour at that time was a must, and I was there, like from 9 a.m. like fighting amid all of this crowd. And this is a thing we didn't use to, because on a daily basis we spend of most of our like working hours in a clinic, in hospital, and now I have to do that job. Now it's a survival
Yeah. Mode.
challenge. And now you are no longer a doctor, and now you are family member responsible of providing this share for other family members. So I spent most of that day like till 6 p.m. and I didn't get it. And they said, come tomorrow. That night, orders of evacuation were for our area.
Oh.
We were ordered officially to evacuate our place in Khan Yunis to Rafah, and we didn't know what to do, like to stay the second day because of the plane flower,
Yeah.
or to evacuate because they are going to heavily bomb that area, because that happened in North Gaza. Like during the 2 months, we were seeing this. North Gaza, Mukhabarat Towers, Sudaniya, Litwam roundabout, all of these places, all of the world, like have seen the madness when they were started to target it. So we had these very frightening thoughts of staying for the plain flower or going to Rafah.
It's insane to have to think of such choices.
Yes, like this second point, and yeah, the tragic loss of Maisara and his family. Like these are the two most prominent memories came to my mind when I think about the first chapter of the genocide.
Yeah. We both have taken achieving scholarship in 2019 and 2020. And when you talk about Maisara is Dr. Maisara Reyes. He's our friend, our other achieving alumnus at the same year. And he's a medical doctor who was specializing in women and children health and also KCL, King's College London. Maisara is a dear friend of both of us. And, you know, when we started doing our masters and came here to the UK, it was the first time for all of us, or most of us, to get outside Gaza. So it was like a huge and crazy experience for us. And we became like a group of very dear friends, always communicating and staying in touch. And you were very close to Maisara. You lived together for a while. And 2 days ago, when we were speaking about this podcast and the interview, you told me something about the day when Maisara and his family were targeted by Israel on the 5th of November 2023. You told me that on the 6th of November, where there was like a total blackout on Gaza, no communication for the day before, in the morning, the first message that you got and you knew about the bombardment of Maisara's family was from me. So could you tell us more about Maisara, about what happened on that day?
Yeah, as you said, we were lucky to know, like each of us, to know Maisara in 2019 when we traveled here for the first time in the UK. And I got the opportunity to live with him in London, and after that in Leeds, like most of the 15 months of the 16 or even 18 months I spent in the UK, Maisara was a huge part of this of this period and these months, and like our relationship deepened after we went back to Gaza, and we started to work there. Like our work places were not so far, so almost we were meeting on a daily basis. Additionally, we were involved in like achieving promotion events. We had a close relationship and special relationship with people inside the UK Jerusalem office in Gaza. Yeah, so through all of that, my relationship with Maisara was unique and was always evolving. And answering your question, something strange happened maybe 17 days or 20 days before the murder of Maisara and his family. Like the first blackout, internet blackout, was 2 to 3 weeks before
Before.
that. And when there was this news about like a possible blackout, that was the first time for us to experience something like that. And all of us had these questions in our minds. What does an internet blackout mean? They are heavily bombing all Gaza City and North Gaza. Does that mean that they are going just to cut the internet and all means of communicating the outer world and just kill us?
Yeah.
Like these were the questions and fears inside our heads. And one of the things I did, I think it's 17 days before his murder, that I just texted him and said, whatever's going to happen, I want you to know that you are one of the most incredible people I've ever met in my life. Um, and I'm so proud, I'm so lucky to have you as a friend and as a brother. I texted him this literally. I didn't call him.
Yeah.
Then he called me and he asked question, why are you sending this? What are you feeling? This is a kind of farewell.
Yeah.
Um, I was feeling that we are going to lose him, but I didn't tell him. This is the first time I'm speaking about this. And I told him like this is a thing I think I must do with all the people I admire, like you, my family, because you know this is blackout. Um, it has like many catastrophic possibilities. And he said, don't lose faith. Everything is going to be okay.
He was always hopeful.
Yes, everything is going to be okay. And that blackout like went for 3-4 days.
Yeah.
And when mentioning blackouts, like okay, we were out of internet, out of communication. We don't know what's happening in like in area just 10 kilometers away from us, but like we were feeling the sense of community, like for the very few times, like our neighbors, our relatives inside the same building, even it was war, even it was targeting, like during the blackout, like our area and Khan Yunis were targeted many, many times, like just hundreds of meters away. But without internet, like we found the time to enjoy our last moments. And I'm sorry to say it like enjoy,
Yeah.
but that was the case. Like all of us, we were having this thought of like it's a matter of days. Any moment could be the last moment, and we have to enjoy our last moments. So this is the thing. Now I remember about speaking about the blackouts, and they resolved the internet issue. Like another blackout happened, and then the third blackout
Yeah.
when Maisara was murdered. Like for the first two happened, like I almost forgot that idea when I texted
The
him.
fear. Yeah.
Yeah. So and it was 7 days, 17 days, and I felt no, these are just fears. And from my work in mental health, I like we always tell people you have to separate between feelings and facts.
Yeah.
Like feelings are temporary things, like are just feelings because of many reasons. Like it was logic to fear that you are going to lose
Your friend. Yeah.
beloved ones.
Yeah.
So I remembered myself of that, and that what I wrote when I sent my testimony to be present at KCL when they did that event for him. That at, like after that, I wrote this literally that I felt my size like and my beloved ones are immune against death because at worst moment I thought they are going to be killed, but they
They
didn't.
survived.
So all of these like thought processes were taking place in my mind, and it's just 17 days all of that fear subsided. And that day I called him at 3 p.m. He was delivering his wife to her family house and called, and going back to his family house. At the 3 p.m., we spoke for around 30 minutes, like in all his way back to his family house.
On the 5th of November, 23.
4th of November.
4th of November.
Fourth,
Yeah.
3 hours before the blackout.
Okay.
3 hours. And like we checked on each other. It was a lovely call, like as a daily call. And that's it. Like 3 hours later, a blackout. It's going to be resumed in the morning, like 6 a.m., 7 a.m. Nothing happened during like massacres were taking place during the blackouts and the previous blackouts. But like this is sad all the time, and happy like few times, sad of the all the time that you are losing people, innocent
Yeah.
people, and happy few times that these are not the people, like your people, your beloved people. And this is, I think this is very, very selfish, but this is like a human being nature.
The people you love and know have survived.
Yes, yes. And I didn't sleep that night because we heard like what's called fire belt,
Yeah.
fire belt and red carpets.
Carpet bombardment.
Carpet
Yeah.
bombardment, like we were hearing them 25 kilometers away from Gaza.
To the north.
Yeah, to the
Yeah.
south.
Okay.
And seeing these flashes in the sky. And we were knowing that they are heavily bombing Gaza. But this has been happening like since October 7th, and now it's 4th of November, like for 1 month, and we got used to it. And then, like, internet started to come back around 7 a.m. Then you sent me around 9 a.m. Asking me, Bahzad, have you spoke to Maisara? I was in my bed.
Yeah.
I told you yes. Yesterday we spoke, and he's fine. What's going, Hala? And you said nothing significant. If you hear anything, just update us and check the news. I directly opened the Telegram, and one of the first newses were like this. استهداف منزل عزم الرئيس وأولاده, like targeting of the house of Azma Rais, his father. Like this was the first,
headline, yeah.
the headline. Then, like, I didn't know how. I was in the living room, just crying. My mom, like, what's happened? And I said, it's my son and his family. She also collapsed. She didn't speak any word. Um, and they said, okay, like, any details that might happen, like, people sometimes go, like, get out and from under the rubble alive. Like, we were calling his number, no answer. Few minutes later, we got his brother's number, like the two, Muayyad and Muhammad, who were not inside the building. And when like, Muayyad saw my number, and he said, Bahzad, my son is under the rubble, and I can do nothing. And he was crying, and just shut the phone down, don't know what to do. Like, one of your best friends, of the best people you ever met, is just 20 to 25 kilometers away from you. You cannot reach him. You know, the distance between Khan Yunis and Gaza,
it's like
less than 30 minutes.
Yeah, in a car, in a
Yeah.
normal situation.
Yes.
And the most difficult bit about that is that Maisara, before he was targeted, he wished not to stay under the rebel.
Yes.
And unfortunately, that's what
Yes.
happened to him exactly.
Yes, and that's the strange thing. Yes, that that my feelings and fears, like 17 days later, like, they happened, and his feelings also happened. Like, he wished literally this.
Yeah.
Like, if they are going to be bombed, he wished for a merciful and, like, rapid killing, and we don't know how it was.
Yeah.
We don't know, and even, like, we sometimes prevent ourselves from not thinking, like, does he and his family, like, spend hours under the rubble? No one's going to take them, to help to rescue them, or it was just, like, very fast, very quick, very merciful killing. We don't know, but we hope and pray for him and for his family and for all of the people who endured, like, similar and even more difficult atrocities. They are now in a better place.
We hope
Yeah.
so. We hope so. Like when they were bombed, it was him, his father, his mother, his sister, Huraib, my colleague. She's also a dentist, 1 year older than me. She's also an artist. And also Azza, his other sister, and their 2 children. And his 2 brothers, as you said, Muhammad and Muayyad, they survived. And through the other 3 days after that, they were trying to retrieve the bodies of their own family. I think they were able to remove their father and bury him adequately, and also Azza and the children.
The father, the mother, and the son of Azza.
The son, Karam, I
Yes.
think.
Yes.
Yeah, they were able to bury him. And on the third day, at the same time where we were like doing a campaign, leading campaign to rescue Maisara, to rescue his family, and also, to retrieve their bodies, hopefully alive at that time, and also the hundreds of people, bodies who were under the rubble because of that carpet bombing on that blackout. And like ITV correspondent was going there to interview Muayyad or Muhammad, the brothers of Maisara, like witnesses of what happened on that day. And once he reached there, Israel have targeted Muayyad and Muhammad and the other people who were helping them. And the correspondent himself was severely injured and then evacuated out of Gaza. So it's not just like he was murdered with his family, but also who survived from the family were after that killed incrementally in a very monstrous way. And it's so difficult, specifically for anyone who's surviving. For instance, their sister Fatima, who was in Europe at that time, and she's now the only survivor of the family. But that also reminds us of another, mental burden that others are going through. I remember within the genocide, specifically the first few months, I was contacted by one of my friends, and she told me that her relative in Gaza, she was like outside, she told me that her relative, 13-year-old girl, a child, she was a wounded child with no surviving family members. She was retrieved from underneath the rubble while she was sleeping with her family. And all of her family, like parents, siblings, grandparents, all the extended family were killed, and only her was removed from under the rubble. And she told me that she doesn't speak at all. She can't sleep, and she keeps on having like nightmares, but without actually sleeping. And she was struggling a lot, and they wanted someone to deal with her situation. And I am a person who's not like expert in the field, but they reached out to me. So I imagine, or I can't even imagine, as a mental health specialist, specifically specializing in children health, how has it been to you, like dealing with the challenges of the genocide, how children were dealing with this genocide that we as adults are not able to comprehend and deal with?
Yeah, starting from the question, because there is a point here, is the intentional and deliberate targeting of his brothers while trying to rescue and or to get
Yeah.
their bodies out. And what like the dark comedy in this, like these are human beings, these are like appreciated lives. The barrier was the lack of fuel. Like there was no solar, no diesel to help them get out from under from under the rubble. Like this promising family, promising people, Maisara, Azza, Raib, all of these, like well known in Gaza and outside Gaza. He got to be educated in the UK, worked in INGO, working in promoting and empowering health policies in Gaza. Like he's a very not him alone, but other people, like Palestinian people, they are very unique and prestigious human beings, fighted for their opportunities to get that knowledge, to get that experience, and to benefit the people. And they cannot be like adequately buried because of lack of 2 to 3 liters of diesel or fuel. And yeah, when you think about this, you think about how truly the world is seeing us as inferior human beings. We are not reaching the point to be dealt with dignity, respect. Like just for the purpose of a dignified burying process, like to
Yeah.
be buried adequately. This is the point I wanted to
Yeah,
mention
it's
here.
not just talking about a dignified life. It's also dignified
Dignified
death.
death.
We're not even
Yes.
reaching that
No, no,
level.
we're
It's
not speaking about just dignified death for highly achievers, well-educated human beings.
yeah,
Answering your question is there are like mental health challenges about the victims themselves or the survivors, either
yeah,
inside Gaza or outside Gaza. And there are like more than one viewpoint we should mention. Like for this girl or relative of that girl, she might be suffering or experiencing what's called survival guilt or secondary trauma, even if she is away, even if she were not inside the house when it was targeted. But secondary trauma is a well established and researched psychological topic. Or, as I said, survival guilt. And what survival guilt like? I've seen many Palestinians who were successful to travel outside Gaza at the very first months before the closure of Rafah border, and like they were trying like tirelessly of leaving Gaza,
yeah,
like collecting money, trying for their family to be safe as much as possible, and waiting for their queue at Rafah crossing border to be outside Gaza, and they thought we are alive, like we survived. But like few days later, they were sending me like complaining, crying, like doubting if they did the right decision. Like what they have done, it's better if they were inside because of these feelings they cannot process with life. Feeling of guilt, feeling of shame. They cannot enjoy the food. They cannot enjoy the normal life routine they
yeah,
have been seeing in Egypt, for example. They cannot sleep. They have these sounds of war drones like day and night
in their heads. Yeah,
inside our heads. One of them were telling me like he made the voice like the sound tone like increase it to maximum at night because he just want to like music or Quran sound to cover the sound of bombings or
oh
war
my God.
like or war drones inside their heads. This is a kind of flashbacks, re-experiencing the traumatic event when they have been rescued to a safe place. It's also features of survival guilt, like, and they question their if they were truly deserved to live this life, this normal life. Why is Bahzad here and not, for example, his other family members?
Yeah,
I'm not better than them in any like why is Hala? Why is this? Why is that? Why is the so all of these like motives behind survival guilt, like did the right choice of leaving? Um why like it would be better if I stayed there, I just killed with them. What's the purpose of life without my family or without my beloved ones? A group of my family were evacuated like March 2024. My aunt holds the Egyptian passport, and she and her kids were evacuated. But just a few weeks later, she called us crying.
oh my
Like she
God.
feel nothing. She said this literally, I feel nothing. And I hate this feeling and I hate this life. I just want to be back.
Yeah,
But she was working like tirelessly to get it to be out, to be rescued for her kids. Um, so yeah, that's survival guilt where very common inside like either inside Gaza or outside Gaza. It doesn't need for people to be like evacuated or rescued or traveled. even people here in the UK or in other places, they suffered this deeply. And when my friends were checking on me, they were saying, like, I'm on a leave today because I'm not able to go to work. Okay, are you tired physically? No, but I'm tired mentally to a level that I cannot drive my body out of the bed. Like these thoughts.
Yeah.
My family eating good food in each spoon, in each smile with my kid. Like, does my brother enjoy the same smile with their kid in Gaza? So this is the features of survival guilt that disable people who are outside the event to a level they cannot process with their daily life routine. And also, something happened. It's not only the survival guilt, but the secondary trauma. You know, the trauma. The trauma is an event. Like it's an event. It starts. It ends. And what Dr. Gabor Mate says, it's what happened to you, it's what happened inside you. And it doesn't really necessitate that you are witnessing this event directly. And this is the definition of the first criteria of post-traumatic stress disorder. Like sudden, life-threatening, unexpected event that is experienced, witnessed, confronted. Like experienced, I survived it. Witnessed, I've seen it, or confronted, I heard about it. So also secondary trauma were happening to the people outside Gaza, like who were sitting on following the news. Like after a period of time, they will experience the flashbacks, the hypervigilance. They will be easily irritated of loud noises, of loud sounds and noise. While they didn't live this
And the
directly
genocide themselves.
inside the genocide,
I think I lived that myself. Since the beginning of the genocide, I left Gaza a few days before the beginning of the genocide. I left my husband, my parents, all my family there, and everyone I care about for the writing up of the PhD here in the UK. And since the beginning of the genocide, I was like following the news closely, everything that's happening, to the level that even when it's time to sleep, and like it's almost the dawn in Gaza, so sunrises, it will sunrise. So this is like the time where the bombardment would ease a little bit sometimes. I would keep my phone on notifications on and vibration. So whenever there is like any notification of a news, I would immediately see it and deal with it, whatever it is. So I remember that with watching the news closely for like a long time, I started having things that I didn't imagine that people outside Gaza or didn't see it like directly would have. For instance, whenever I see, and this is like a while ago, whenever I see a person, an owner of a dog or a cat holding them, or like a cat is coming toward their owners, I would see them eating them. I wouldn't see them like playing with them. This like would come as one flash of that image and then disappear. And the same is happening whenever I see a father or a mother carrying their baby, specifically like a newborn or babies folded in their clothes and blankets. And what I will see, like I am in the UK, there is nothing at all, and there is a person, a father carrying his or her child, and what I will see is like a person full of blood, dust everywhere. It's dark around them, with the explosions, and the child cloth is full of blood. This is the image in my mind, and that would be like seconds. Then it will disappear. So, like I had that myself. I tried it. I experienced it. It didn't make any sense for me because I wasn't inside the genocide. I was in the other 6 Israeli aggressions over Gaza, but it wasn't anything like this. My flashbacks are from what I saw, not what I witnessed myself. And I saw like other people who are also like closely watching and bearing witness to what's happening in Gaza as their responsibility. They were saying that they have PTSD or they have like developed maybe depression or something over the content they're watching and dealing with. And I don't know, like how could we deal with that? Or the most difficult thing, if we outside Gaza are feeling such things and, like experiencing such traumas, what about the people in Gaza who have literally lived the genocide, all the phases of it, the starvation, the famine, the flooding now of Gaza with the rain and all, with that Israeli destruction of the infrastructure? What their mentality will be? Is it PTSD? Is it, what is it? What are they actually living now in Gaza?
So you are speaking about, typically this secondary traumatization. While you are away from the event, you didn't see it, you didn't experience it yourself. And this is something common, especially for the frontline workers like ambulance drivers, first aid responders, ER doctors, civil defense forces, because they are the frontline staff who go to these places and see these atrocities. This is something common between them. And also, it happened to be like with all of these numbers to be something common for the people outside Gaza who were following the news. And these like few moments or seconds of these images, what's called maybe flashbacks or intrusive imaginations, imaginary picture, like intrusive without thinking, they just jump in your mind and make you anxious or irritated or restless. So yeah, this is literally secondary traumatization. And sometimes people can consider it PTSD because I told you like the DSM considered it as a PTSD. But when it comes to people inside Gaza, this is a little bit different because there's no be there. Like it's never post.
Yeah.
It's never post. It's a continuous daily life routine. And what happened during the last 2 years is that the default surviving mode was the trauma,
Oh my God.
and the abnormal was these few moments of peace. That was the abnormal for the people there. I'm going to back to this later, because there's no be, because it's a continuous it's a continuous event. So it's always the fight or flight mode. So people are just bargaining or trying to be alive as long as possible. And these, even when they have these flashbacks or memories, they won't necessarily disable them to the level that people outside Gaza
Yeah.
can reach, because people outside Gaza have maybe the space of expressing that or asking for a leave, asking for a rest, asking for whatever is going to help. But inside, this is not available. And people have no choice except enduring it. And that what is unique about the trauma inside Gaza. And a fundamental, very basic and initial step in addressing traumatic symptoms or traumatic disorders or PTSD is to end the trauma.
Oh, okay.
Is to end the trauma, to end the traumatic event, and either to get the person to a safe place or to make the place safe. And these two options were not available. People were not able to leave Gaza. Also, they were not taken outside Gaza to a safe place. Even if all of this lie about humanitarian areas, like evacuate to this humanitarian area, when the world hear this, like we are going to run a military operation in Khan Yunis, we order the people to go to Rafah.
Yeah.
So I think world would perceive this as Rafah as a safe place, but that was not the case. And these humanitarian areas were heavily bombed. So there was no safe place. and people cannot be getting out to a safe place.
Okay.
So this is the very basic criteria is not there. So all of what it comes is it's just for me, for my opinion. It's just a numbing what's would say process, like numbing intervention, like interventions that help people to endure it like in less painful way
Yeah.
because we cannot provide this safety, like this basic
The first standards
it's
of
we cannot
dealing with them
yeah,
is to put
and
them in a
they
safe
know
condition.
that it's not going to work. They know, like the humanitarian NGOs, like the INGOs, they know that their interventions in Gaza are just like masking interventions or relief or like interventions that help the people to survive in that chaos till either they have been killed, evacuated, or the world decide to end that massacre or that genocide. They knew this. And one of the things I was doing is that I was doing group support sessions for our colleagues, like
Yeah.
inside our clinic, and for colleagues working in INGOs. And one of the sessions I was working on behalf of my organization, like Gaza Community Mental Health Program. Um, we we were doing group support sessions for MSF, Medicine Sans Frontières stuff, and that group, one of them, like lost all her family members.
Oh my God.
Lost all her family members. She was heavily traumatized. She was suffering, but in silence. She didn't express this, and she became a workaholic. She just wanted to work, like hours and hours, taking shifts, taking. She just wanted to be inside the clinic. And one day, when she was a little bit open, she said this, like, I do this because I have nothing to do. Like, if I just work my allowed hours, there will be enough space for me to process
Yeah.
or to navigate or to perceive what I have lost. And I don't want that moment because when I perceive what I have lost at my age, like very outstanding mother, colleague, professional at her like last 40s,
Yeah.
she reached the level in life to enjoy like the rise up of their kids, to enjoy her house, her extended family.
What she has accomplished.
Yes, but now she's alone and she are escaping this feeling. This is the thing she said. And the second thing she said that I like when she lost her family members, she left with her like sister, I think, or one family member, and they themselves were targeted. So that
My
notion
God.
of safe place, it's not there. So people again and again and again live that trauma. And going back to the few peaceful moment, we expressed them as abnormal moments. Like there were moments where the sky were truly empty for drones, like where these sounds are not there,
Oh.
just a blue sky. Everything is good. Sounds of people, like kids are playing, like moments, unbelievable moments. We were saying them like, are we dreaming
Oh my God.
or something catastrophic is going to happen? Like we fear that moments because we didn't get used to them. And like most of the times we felt that safety and soothing, something terrible happened after. So that was the process of people there. Like either it's abnormal, it's unreal, like we are dreaming. This must be a dream because we were dreaming of that life, just normal life, empty of war drones, warplanes, targeting, shooting, screaming, all of these issues.
That's very weird, you know. This genocide had before it like 6 Israeli aggressions for us in Gaza at least. And I imagine like someone like you or like me or someone in 40s and all of that would have memories of aggressions and violence and moments of, you know, ease and silence a little bit between them. But you know, like there's something to look for because you know that you have experienced some or a little bit of peace within those episodes of aggressions. I imagine that it became more difficult with the genocide because it was a prolonged process. But I can't imagine how, you know, half of the population of Gaza are children. 1 million children. Many of them have never witnessed anything but the genocide. So how would that affect them?
Yeah, this is very sad and very difficult to
Yeah.
speak about. And I think when it comes to that huge population, we should be careful about making conclusions.
Yeah.
Because it's true that like entire population is traumatized, and someone would expect that that means is also disabled, and we should be careful on that because it, it doesn't necessitate that they are disabled. You cannot put this and saying this. All of the population in Gaza, like half a population, 1 million under age of 18, so they are kids. They suffer this. They are disabled
Yeah.
because
No. Yeah.
it's true. They like all of them were exposed to trauma, and I have few points on this. Like according to child age level, like newborn, infant till age 4 or 5, school children, adolescents. There's something called attachment theory in psychological development, in childhood psychological development. And in a nutshell, this attachment theory means that the child, while he is physically developing, he is also psychologically and mentally and emotionally developing by learning from his mother by
Yeah.
being attached to her. So in a stable situation and good mother, we say responsive mother that responds to the needs of her kid, something called a secure attachment is developing. In the opposite, where the mother is not responsive or she is abusing or neglecting the child, insecure attachment is developed. And we called her attachment figure. Like the figure, this kid, this
Is
newborn
attached to,
is attached to, attachment figure. Sometimes it can be another caregiver, but mostly in our society, they are mother at the
Mother,
beginning.
yeah.
Then, when the child grows, he becomes attached to his father, to his siblings, to his society, to his community, and to his home,
Yeah.
to his house. And I believe, from my experience, combined with this theory, that deliberate targeting of homes and houses is also targeting this concept of security inside the psychological makeup of our children.
Oh.
Like children is growing, learning security and safety, sensing security and safety, learn how this is felt from his mother, father, brothers, and house.
Yeah.
And why this important? Because the world for a child, developing a child, is either adventure worth to be discovered or a threat must be escaped. Secure, healthy attachment put him in the mood of it's
Adventure. Yeah. To
worth
live
to
and
be
discover.
discovered, to
Yeah.
be enjoyed. Other mood, he's going to develop as anxious, hesitant, paranoid, insecure, a human being.
Oh my God.
This is happening. And when you see that like madness in targeting houses, it's in the core, target this sense, this concept of security.
Yeah.
Like you will like the most secure place for you, your security base is targeted. So this world is not safe for you.
Oh
You will
God.
not feel this sense of security again.
Yeah.
Like why is this? Because you have to look at this theory. Like when that child is put on an environment, like his mother is sitting like you, he start to walk a few meters away from her and look back to her. Okay, she is still back. I can go and discover. I'm secure and safe. And this is while we grow, this is developed inside us. Like after a long day at the school, oh, we are finally at home.
Yeah.
Like it's our
Where you rest. Yeah.
yes. But now the home is targeted. Like that security figure is targeted to the core. This is for targeting houses. I see it that way.
Yeah.
What about just targeting the parents? Like the one who is going to learn me this sense of security, the one who I supposed to attach to. Like more than 40,000 children in Gaza are orphaned.
Yeah, around 17,000 of them orphans of both parents.
Both parents.
So we're talking about tens of thousands of children
Children.
who will have their first stage of attachment with the mother's cut, with the father's cut, and the second one that you talked about with homes
Yes.
is also cut.
Yes.
So
And yeah, you think about these orphaned children and of the children who also lost their homes while, for example,
Yeah.
their father and mother are still alive. So it's all interconnected and interdependent, and it explains like the catastrophe of the psychological toll of on a children. So again, these children, when like orphaned children, from where they will get to sense the world as a secure place that need to be discovered. This is an issue. The second point is that it's not only like their families still alive or not. Like if their parents become severely injured,
yeah,
and now for the like 8-year child has to become the man of the family.
yeah, the breadwinner of the whole family. Yeah,
And the
it's
man of the
happening a lot,
family
yeah.
applies to that girl or boy.
Yeah,
But I'm saying the man because our society consider the man that he is responsible. So I've seen 8 years and 10 years girls selling what like things you cannot imagine that can be sold just to fund or aid their family, their disabled or severely injured parents. This is another issue affected by like another difficulty or catastrophe affecting the children, like this change in positions, in caring positions, in family positions. When we have children who become the family responsible persons. The other maybe another point is that as I said, like we love the schools. Like 4 or 5 years old children, we always look like we want to go to
yeah, to
school.
start this
Yeah,
schooling.
I want to go up faster. I want to go to school. Like my older siblings, the school is the place that I want. I will meet new friends. I will promote my potential. All of these like in our brains as kids, and for a 3-year-old child lived in a tent in a school campus for 2 years. He's 5 years. How is um, how is seeing the like how he is perceiving the school, the education, the word education. I've been in an interview called "Changing Landscapes" and
Yeah.
how that 2 years affected that concept, and it started with the question: when the word landscape come to your mind, what is the first things you think about? And what like all of us think about, like these scenic views of beaches with hills, sunset, sunrise. These like this is linked to work landscape. Think about a child who like 3 years at October 7th, 5 years the age of going to school
Yeah.
at October 2025, what is the first things come to his mind when he heard the word school or education?
Shelter.
Shelter,
Thousands of people are
shelter,
there. Bombing.
bombing,
No safety.
dehumanization,
Yeah.
queuing on the toilets,
Oh, yeah. On water. No food.
no inhuman living conditions, muddy school spaces, people,
Israeli raids. They
yeah,
usually kidnap people from
yes,
schools.
yes. All of these will jump to his mind after thinking about the word just a school or education, which is supposed to be very source of joy for a child of that age any other place in the world.
Yeah, and formality, discipline, and so many of our like values and ethics and principles we learn in schools.
And another point related to children is that, and this is very sorry thing to happen, is that you see reels or social media posts about the children of Gaza like holding baskets,
Yeah.
and consider them as resilient,
Yeah.
or as they are like hearts are hard as a stone. The problem with this is that the children at this age, they cannot verbalize their suffering. They cannot express as adults. And the children are expressing either in two ways: play or behavioral exhibition of difficulties, or isolation and silence.
Oh God.
And that's what was happening. And this is very unjust thing to think about when we look at these reels and social media posts and say, um, look, this how resilient are these children? You don't know if they were resilient or struggling. This is a thing. The second thing is like youth, like adolescents. They express these feelings, these insecurities, this uncertainty with aggressive behavior, with violent behavior. They become anxious. They shout maybe in their friends, family members. They become easily irritated. These are like behavioral expressions of what they have been suffering. It doesn't necessitate for them not speaking that I'm tired, I'm scared, I'm frightened, that they are okay or they are resilient. So the catastrophe of that younger generation is that they cannot express their difficulties as adult. They cannot express and they cannot process. And if they are going to process, they need the means. One of the means is the spaces, safe playgrounds, safe schools, safe family homes, safe community centers, mental health community centers, youth empowerment centers. All of that is not there. So they cannot express and they cannot process, which means that they will continue to endure and suffer. So speaking about all of this, or we also have to speak about the positive things, despite all of the things that there were society campaign like grassroots campaigns who were targeting children as beneficiaries.
Yeah.
And amid that chaos, like families insisted on their children to go to these like camps, for example, just for play, just for growing. My sister were taking her 2 4-year-old twins and just draw with them, even while the world ends, while in the sky there's no plain flower. Despite all of that,
They were trying to create the best out of
yes,
whatever they
yes,
have.
yeah, yeah. And we like at our community center, we were receiving like mothers, mainly mothers from shelters with their children, saying that they are experiencing bedwetting or isolation or social withdrawal, and they will stick to the therapy plan that we can offer, given that lack of resources, and they come session by session by session, trying to heal their children. So that was also giving me hope that the society is not giving up their children in that way, and despite that, the fact that the second day they might not be with their children, but they wanted to provide as much as they can till their last moment with the children. So this is something we have to focus on, and we have to mention that that we have the capacity as a society, despite everything. I know that sometimes it's problematic to tell this, but even if it's problematic, it's a fact that was happening. There was families who sent their kids to work, and there was families who tried to the last moment to provide whatever they can provide to their children. So yeah, it was happening, and it was promising. It was giving hope.
Yeah, I think the main problem when people talk about resilience outside Gaza specifically, or like promoting resilience or resilient narrative, is that they use it sometimes. I'm not saying in bad intentions, but sometimes they are dehumanizing the Palestinians because they take that like one story of strength or, coming out of the rubble and all of that, and they portray the whole life as it, as if there is no suffering behind this like one image or behind this reel that shows this like heroic situation. And they keep on like saying that the Palestinians are different. I remember there was a video of a 14 years old boy who was orphan. So both of his parents were killed, and he was taking care of his other siblings, some of them injured, and a baby, among them a baby. And they were like in a makeshift tent, so they didn't even have anything. And the child was talking about the difficulties of taking care of the whole family, that is the father, the mother right now, making the milk for the baby and fetching for food and all of those things. And people in the comments were like, the Palestinian children are not like our children. And they were like starting to see our people, our elderly, our men and women and children in different way, while we are not. Our children are exactly as spoiled as your children, but the conditions where they have been pushed into have forced them to this mood, to this reaction. But they wouldn't, as you have told me before, they wouldn't have chosen that if they got the option not to do it.
Exactly.
But the feeling of responsibility of the rest of your family is something anyone in such conditions will develop. So people need to understand that the fragmentation of the whole story of suffering, and to be able to see the beauty, the hope, the working hard is something good, but not to distance it from the reality of the situation and the suffering.
Yes. Yes, that's completely true. And there are more than one point on this. I'm trying to remember all of them when speaking about resilience. So, there are like being resilience in academic field, resilience in daily life. So the word of resilience, I'm using it for the purpose of delivering the message of our people, endure the things, but I don't believe in it. In our context, I just use it like as a mean of transmission of the message, but I don't believe it because it's criticized many times and like in other contexts, and it's criticized by being a Western concept that is imposed on societies like our societies, on colonized societies, on societies who suffer structural violence, oppression, occupation, annihilation, genocide. So speaking about resilience, and when people makes us superheroes, is another way of dehumanization. What the word dehumanization mean? Like humanization, you are human. Dehumanization, you are not a human. The word resilience makes us dehumanized as superheroes.
Yeah, so it's either less as animals, as Israelis and Zionists do, or more superhero, as sometimes pro-Palestinians do.
Either way, we have been dehumanized. Superman is not a human.
Yeah,
He's
superhero.
superhero. Superhero is not a human. And this is like we can't dehumanize him because he is not a human.
Yeah.
And we have been dehumanized the other side publicly, loudly, especially at the first months, with people who consider themselves like leaders, outstanding journalists. They were considering us as inferior human beings, as human animals.
Yeah.
So we have been dehumanized that way. And going back to the word resilience, dehumanizing us by making us superheroes. What does that mean? And what does that do? What does that mean is that we can tolerate more.
Yeah.
What we can tolerate more, like elevated level of starvation, of bombing, of loss, of grief. What does that mean? What does that do? That do, as external witnesses of this, Palestinian children, men, frontline workers, they are superheroes.
Yeah, they're not like us.
They can deal with the issue.
Yeah.
Yeah, they don't need our help. They don't need they can deal with the issue. They will come through it. They will survive it because they always do. And it gives us this false, fake sense that hides our feeling of maybe guilt, maybe paralysis.
Yeah.
I can't remember like the word عجز,
Inability. Yeah.
inability to solve this. It's just mask that.
So it's also like a mental mechanism.
Yeah, I see it that way.
Dehumanize us,
Yes.
make us superheroes. So those people, those Palestinians, they
Yes.
don't need our help. They're not like us.
Yes.
We're different. We're weak. We can do anything.
Yes.
And we can't withstand that.
Yes.
Our children can't, but Palestinians can.
Yes.
And this is true. This is the narrative we see in Arabic and
Yes.
also like Western media sometimes.
I
and
believe in
people
this.
think that they're helping us when they do that, but they don't. It's very painful.
They don't help us as Palestinians, and they don't help themselves as a human being.
Yeah.
Want to solve that issue. All of what they are doing is that they are numbing their feeling of inability, of paralysis. They surrender to the reality that they meant to surrender to, that this is not going to resolve. This is the reality of the people who are asking about their rights, and could be the reality of the people who would stand with them. So they hide that fear with dehumanizing us by saying we are resilient to the level of superheroes. And some maybe at times they will stop watching the
Yeah.
news. Why? Because nothing is going to change. This is going to continue. But I believe Palestinians are superheroes.
They can do it.
They can do it. I'm going back to my life. An excuse of not continuing support, not continuing boycotting, not continuing the things that they must do to help the people there. They can do. This is the purpose of it. I personally see it that way. This is the first point. The second point is that resilience in Western discourse, in Western framework, is individual approach, like looking at individual by putting the blame on individuals. So what resilience mean? Like for INGOs, for a humanitarian perspective, like all of these INGOs were intervening in Gaza till now, with all of these projects, like to promote resilience of displaced in Al-Mawasi shelter camp. To promote resilience for what?
To endure the conditions, the genocidal conditions.
what produced these conditions?
Israel, occupation, colonialism, genocide.
So this is another way of looking at resilience. So it's not stopping the reasons that produced that catastrophe. It's just mitigating its results. So this is what resilience in for humanitarian perspective is mean.
And it makes it individual responsibility.
Yeah.
So you are in that situation, you have to deal with it. If you didn't, you're lacking resilience.
You are
It's
lacking
your
resilience.
fault.
And we have to promote your resilience to a level to tolerate that.
And whatever violence is happening, more Israeli violence, you have to tolerate it.
You have to tolerate it. You have to promote your level of resilience. You have to be resilient as an individual human being, because this is what happens here in Europe, in US, in Western.
Yeah, individualism.
context.
It's your responsibility.
Yeah,
You have to deal with it.
And all of these individualistic lifestyle, life approaches we hear day and night on social media. Learn to say yes, it's your right, you can do it, you are the most powerful person on earth. You like all of this individualization and separation of human beings as by making them just individuals, not relating to the context around them, not related to the family, to the society. This is where the word resilience were born here in a different context, and they are imposing it to a context where resilience are stemmed and built from social networks, from schools, from family members, from excellent job or healthy job environment. Resilience in our society are stemmed from our Palestinian identity, from our Palestinian heritage, from our cultural heritage as Arabic, as Muslims. All of these like cultural trajectory put inputs to our sense of resilience. We tolerate hardship because we have another judgment of hardship, another way of thinking the hardship. We tolerate the hardship because we know we will be receiving ajr this life after life. We tolerate the hardship because for the purpose of my family, for the purpose of my society. And when we are speaking about this, think about frontline resilience in Gaza. Think about all of these doctors, civil defense workers, journalists who kept working despite collapse of all means of Western resilience. Western resilience stems from what? Like it looks as individual of what we has, of what he has, of what he can accomplish. Doctors in Gaza lost their houses, and they evacuated their families to other place and went to hospital to work. Journalists in Gaza lost everything, lost their family members, their sons, and we have like example Walid Dahdouh, Anas Sharif, all of these who lost family members, lost everything, but they continued to work. Civil defense worker who were to rescue the kid Hind Rajab.
Yeah, and they were killed on the way.
Hind Rajab,
One
child, 5, 6, 7, 8 years. I'm not sure about her. Yeah, but like whole team of civil defense risked their life to go there and rescue her, and all of them were killed.
Unfortunately.
They knew that they are going to be killed, but they were, can we say they were resilient to the level that will allow them? No. They did that despite the fear because of a deep sense, I would say, of a Palestinian identity that found itself fighting, maybe for the first time in our history, maybe the first time in Gaza, like against attempt of erasure. That was the genocide for me.
It is.
That was it. And that doctor, when he received the news of killing of his son and continued to work, like Yusuf, Shao Kerli, Wahma, that doctor was doing his job as a doctor.
Yeah.
I believe inside himself, I might be wrong, but but I believe that he was doing that to preserve
The life.
as much life as possible against an attempt
For erasure.
that its aim to annihilate this life or to erase it or to extinguish it.
The collective life. So it becomes
It becomes a
so it
collective
becomes
resilience.
the opposite, rather than the resilience or it's individualistic thing where you're looking about your benefits, your values, and how you grow and all of that. It becomes something collective where you are preserving the life of the collective, even if your own life, if your family's life are in danger. And I think that's why people in Gaza and Palestine prefer to use the term sumud rather than the term resilience, because it doesn't describe the systematic Israeli colonial violence and the systematic community collective attempts to,
Yes.
combat it.
Yeah. Exactly. Yes. Yeah, the word sumud for me, it's more holistic, more diverse, more meaningful than the word resilience. Before October 7th, the word sumud were deeply studied, and it was like many papers discussed it. There's a paper from Malaka Shweikh. Its title Beyond Resilience Towards More Language of Care, and explaining what we are speaking about. But in my opinion, like what happened after October 7th, it was like a new evolvement of Sumud in Gaza, like the Palestinian Sumud, were expressed in a way that it's not expressed before. Sumud means the ability to cope, to bounce back. Like this is the word resilience. The word resilience means to bounce back after adversity. Like if you are a rubber ball and you hit it in the ground, then you return to your previous position after a trauma. This is resilience in Western discourse. Sumud means that, and means more. It means refusing the life that the colonizer or the occupier is trying to impose on us, refusing that life. And not only just refusing it, is pushing back against it. So it's not only refusal, it's pushing back, act of resistance to push back. And it's collective. So it's bouncing back, refusal, resistance, and collective.
And the collective is very important because the issue of resilience that we said is dehumanization. It removes the responsibility from the outsider. However, in Sumud, the collective Sumud is not only happening between the Palestinians or the people in the community. It happens because of the global Sumud, global solidarity, global action. It doesn't happen because only Palestinians are trying, because if only them tried and they have manifested Sumud for decades, they will be annihilated, because Israel and the West are working towards that. But if it was like a global thing, a global Sumud, then you're not just sitting and waiting the superheroes to show Sumud. No, you're part of it, and you're maintaining it.
Yeah, exactly. Yes. I'm trying to remember a point on this. So Sumud in Gaza during the 2 years was manifested and explained in many new ways. Look at the people who stayed at Gaza, North Gaza, who refused to go to South. Look at the starvation they were living, they went through. Look at the frontline workers who refused to give up their places. Shifa Hospital, Kamal Adwan, العودة Hospital, دكتور حسام بصفية, دكتور همام اللوح. All of these, like as a human beings, like as individual resilient people, would lift their places, but they didn't. Why? There will be many answers. One of them is that the sense of collective responsibility at that particular time, Palestinians in Gaza, and frontline workers, sensed that their task was to preserve life again against against like as against a mad machine
Yeah.
that its goal is to extinguish it. And they continue to do that as a group. I was doing these group support sessions and I was hearing and listening to the comments, like all of them were tired, like all of the were tired, were having difficulties, were showing symptoms, were losing hope, were frightened, were scared, but they continued to do the work. They continue to do the work. And this is opposite to Western discourse of dysfunctionality or disorder. Because if you are not resilient, you are disordered.
Yeah.
And what disordered mean? You are dysfunctional.
You can't function.
You
Yeah.
cannot function. You cannot fulfill your personal life, your social life, your occupational life, your professional life. But
I believe the Palestinian sumud, or this like functioning of the community collectively, is one of the main Israeli tactics that were like attacked. So there is we've seen the genocide, we've seen the damage of the infrastructure, this like a targeting of it, but we've also seen manifestation of psychological warfare, and it comes with the bombardments and physical and all of that, but also with the stuff that affects the psyche, like the stuff that affects the sumud, and other maybe physical manifestation as the leaflets that Israel have been like dropping everywhere for people to evacuate from the north to the south and different areas. And at the same time, the psychological warfare comes where wherever you go, called safety or like safe zone and safe corridors, you also not safe. You will be bombed. You will be killed, and that happened a lot. And also we see the psychological warfare with the Israeli use of quadricopter, and I believe this genocide was the first time where quadricopters were used in this way, where they will be like calling at people, shouting at them, or making voices, showing recorded voices of crying babies or women,
Dogs.
so the dogs, so the community would go out to help and then be targeted. So they're like attacking so many social and like emotional and psychological things at the same moment. And there's something like deeply scary about it. You know, like we all have seen sci-fi movies and, you know, scientific fiction and things that you imagine or you think about, but you never thought that it will be in your own time. But one of the things that was crazy is the Israeli use of AI to kill people in Gaza. How would a person sitting in Gaza be thinking that there is another system is killing you, like discriminately, everyone is targeted because it's a holistic, it's a holistic power that would like to eradicate you. They care that everyone is killed, they don't care who's killed. And at the same time, there is that robotic killers. We also, like in sci-fi, thought about robots that would be killing people, but we had that in Gaza. Robots going to entire neighborhoods and explode, vanish the whole neighborhood, kill everyone, and people would be stuck underneath the rubble. So we had such things in Gaza, and for some people, they think that this is Gaza, it's distant, but it's not. Gaza is the future of the world. You yourself, as a survivor of the genocide, is coming from the future. Your witnesses, everything that you've talked about is warning to this community, to the global, to the humanity, to understand that whatever is happening to Gaza and happened in Gaza will happen every other where. And we're seeing it here in the UK. The police started using facial recognition technologies taken from Israel. So they're already using it in different ways, but for surveillance, for control, for, catching people and framing them and all of that. So it's used. So going back to that, the psychological warfare, as you've said, the attack of Sumud, the attack of people, the attack of the livelihood, the homes, the family bond, it's happening, but at the same time, like there's that negative part that you could talk about where Israel is engineering the loss and psychological warfare, but also people have resisted in different ways and had new things that they started developing and doing that they were not thinking or doing before the genocide.
That's very long.
Yeah, I'm so sorry.
Statement and many points to comment on. I hope I will be able to do so. Like, yes, as you said, like I like the word engineering the genocide or engineering the targeting of the population. And yeah, it was not just a military war. It was not just weapons. Like all of us, like our moral code was targeted.
Yeah.
Our social links were targeted. Our knowledge system was targeted and tested, all of these. And when speaking about Sumud, it's not always like bright
Yeah.
and nice. It has a cost, very expensive cost. Again, people who see these reels or these images, they don't see the cost behind it, the mental burden, the physical burden, the agony, the suffering, all of these, they can't see it. And yeah, we are not a perfect society. And we have seen many features of people who lost faith, who lost
Yeah.
sumud, who were targeting sumud also themselves. So like these gangs preventing plain flower from going to those
Yeah.
in need, those were part of our society.
Yeah. Those were coordinated and controlled by Israel.
Yes, yeah, with the Israeli authorities, yeah, with the
Yeah.
Israeli army. They were covered by it and protected by it. And they were Palestinian.
Yeah.
But this, in my opinion, this should not be made as a critique, but they should be perceived as a weapon. They were also a weapon, like these gangs, this group were also a weapon that is added to AI, to war drones, like tools. They are not a universal case or issue. They wished if they are going to be like the trend among the Gazan society. But I see them, although they were like, their impact was huge. Like I myself, I suffered starvation, especially a few months before, like from April, May, June, July, before traveling here. But like, because I hear these talks, like people look, Gazan society is not solid. They are not, because these people, you like the social structure has collapsed.
Yeah.
That's right, it has collapsed, and it's normal to collapse.
Yeah.
Like what happened there, nations would collapse. I've been here in the UK 2020.
Yeah.
I've
with
seen the
COVID.
society during COVID.
Yeah.
And I was telling people there that compared to what I've seen here, if the society here just endured 10% of what we have endured, like the collapse would be unimaginable, beyond the prediction. This is my personal opinion. I cannot make it universal, but this is my experience.
Yeah.
So the default mode is for society to collapse, especially when all of the infrastructure has collapsed, when the civil resources has collapsed. So that was the default mood. But again, it happened to some extent, but also the society found its ways to push back through that. At the end of the day, we are human beings. We are known of being generous society, generous people. Like in our parties, in our graduation ceremonies, in our group gatherings, we buy things, we give things. People were angry, sad, and upset that they said always. I hear that people has changed. They didn't anymore provide things they were providing. That's natural. That's natural, and it's natural, and also like it provided the opportunity for people to know like the real friendships, the real links, the real relationships. I won't be sad with that, because I said we have different capacities of tolerance. And I would excuse, like, for example, my brother or my sister who has two twins, not to give me like a piece of bread, because this like
Her daughters,
is
yeah.
that's something we should not be sad, although it's sad. So I keep remembering myself of this and refuse to take these examples as examples of that the society or the social build up has collapsed because there were voluntary initiatives. I've seen this many times. Like we lost our house in February 2024. We were in Rafah and we went back to Khan Younis. We don't have a place to be in. And we owned a piece of land, like a farm, 400 square meters. We built tents in it.
Okay.
Okay. And our neighbor, from the first day, provided us like 5 hours. He had solar panels and provided us line of electricity to charge our phones like for 5 to 6 hours just to charge our phones.
Although it makes life for them,
yeah.
but they were able to sacrifice even
Yes,
in the most
and
extreme
he can benefit from that
circumstances.
because this went to a kind of business. Like
Yeah.
you pay for charging phones, but
True.
he gave us, and he gave us a source of water, and not only us, like around 40 tents in the area were supplied of
bless
water
them,
from
wallah.
him for free. That was a real example. I've seen this. Another example, people who were going between tents and providing, especially at times of a blend for like starvation or food, like the diminished food, maybe June, July. They like even one piece of a bread, like they have 5 pieces. They were going between tents and give it to the people who in need, who are in need. So you have seen these people and you have seen these people. I also another example. Um, we we always were living with our extended family members.
Yeah.
But because of displacement, because of losing our home, like that extended family distributed across different places. Like my cousins, we are a small family. My cousins were in a far place from us. I was in our place with I myself, my brother, and my dad, with my mom and sister and the two twins, Roba and Roa. And one day they targeted a tent just 10 meters away from our tent,
Oh God.
just 10 meters away. And my father and brother both were injured with shrapnels. And my father, like it was a must to go urgent operation that last around 3 hours.
Oh God.
At that time, I must be with them in the hospital. And you know, it's war, it's all of these insecurity and diminished safety for your mom and sister to be alone.
Yeah, and two
And I said,
children.
2 children, but you are in the hospital. So the man who the rule has changed now. I'm aware, I'm away, but what I was surprised is that like neighbors who I got to know them from displacement, they are not relatives, they are not old neighbors, but I knew them through displacement. They were taking care of my family, my sister and mom, more than if we were there.
Oh my God.
And like 5 days, my mom didn't ask about water. Our neighbors were providing
God bless them.
yes. And this is not only my case, this also a case of many other families across the Gaza Strip. At the same time, you will hear other stories. Again, I'm not saying we are a perfect society. I'm not saying that our social sumud or social ethical code remained the same, but I say to a large level it's normal and natural and expected, giving the nature, the tools
Yeah.
and the means we were fighted by.
Yeah, the
You
amount of
spoke, yeah,
violence.
you spoke about all of these warfare, psychology and the AI, and imagine society that is like imagine a poor society, like our society, like our community, like our
Yeah.
people. is fought by the most sophisticated army in the Middle East, with a British surveilling planes
All the time.
all the time, British, with American, the most powerful country on earth, backing up that, with all of these powers.
All sending weapons. The
All
most advanced
sending
weapons
weapons,
to Israel.
backing
Yeah.
up Israel, doing the things they were doing, all of these, like all of these power,
And sending soldiers.
yeah, all of this power against civilians, trapped, imprisoned society, half of it
Children.
children, and then come to blame the Palestinians in Gaza that some features of the social network has collapsed. This is totally unfair.
To be honest, my shock was that some people did not collapse.
Yes.
So for me, the abnormal is that some people, like I know a relative of mine, if we talk about the personal, he always,
If you
yeah.
just what I'm saying this as a personal message for this episode. Sorry for the interruption,
worries.
because I always hear the word that we are not perfect.
Yeah.
Our sumud is imaginational one. We don't have. All of this I agree with. We didn't have other choices, but I just remind people of the disequilibrium of power and about the expected and the realistic outcome. That again, all of this power, like the most powerful armies, especially the US, like in history of the manhood, facing that trapped society, half of it is population. Of course, we will collapse. Of course, there will be undesired, like out of our code social phenomena. Of course, that will happen because, as I said, we have different tolerance capacities, but we have to look at the other side. We have to look at the doctors who remained at the hospitals, at the people who stayed at the north, at the families who refused to evacuate their homes or houses. We have to look at these students who arrived here to educate, which I was one of them. We have to look at them. We have to hear our stories, how they were sending emails, writing letters, fighting to being waived of English a language test, advocating through that campaign. We have also to look to all of this. This is like just a call or a message, just to be honest and kind when making these judgments. And this message is also for Palestinians.
Yeah.
Is also for Palestinians, because I hear this narrative from Palestinians.
Yeah, self-critiquing.
There's no problem with self-critique, but there's a problem with hating ourselves, feeling guilt or ashamed of being Palestinians, because this is also a desired goal.
Exactly.
Is targeted by these tools and weapons, the AI, the gangs, the robots. We will come to this in a while, but through all of these tools and weapons, again, it's not just killing or targeting, it's making us feeling guilty and ashamed of being Palestinian. And this is known in the history of wars. When you put more oppression on the population to disturb their identity, so they can feel ashamed of their identity and trying to mimic or act similar to what the colonizer is wanting from them, so that he can minimize the violence against them. So this is a process. When we reach the point of hating speaking about Gaza, hating speaking about ourselves, say we are not resilient. This Sumud is not true. We don't have any other options. And this is valid criticism of Sumud, that it makes it like binary. black or white, like people are Samidun or Sumud or not. But it's not like that. And also it deprives people from like you have been in Gaza. We were doing things not for the political purpose. We were trying to survive the reality in Gaza and making it beautiful as much as we
Yeah, make
can.
it better.
Yeah, for the purpose of enjoying it, for
Yeah.
the purpose of helping our families, of building families. So we were not like, we are not fully aware of it being political, and that is a criticism of Sumud, which is valid. So not all the 2 million in Gaza doing the things they are do because they are politically fighting Israel or resisting Israel. Not all of them have this political intent, but Sumud itself, deep inside Sumud, it's political. Like our existence there is
It's
political.
political. It's a demographic
Yes,
annihilation.
even if we didn't intend to make it political, but our existence there is political. So understanding this will minimize this burden of being ashamed of ourselves. We should be proud of ourselves as a, as Palestinians who were being oppressed and ethnically cleansed by
Yeah.
all of these mad powers. I think we have to go to that robots and AI point. And yeah, I've survived that. The idea of quadcopters,
Yeah.
it's insane. And you would hear many stories, many stories about the quadcopter, how they were at night, just landing to a level of the roof of the tent. I myself, I've seen with the naked eye
Oh my God.
many times. You have seen these videos, which sadly published for like making soldiers laugh, about quadcopter following like a boy
Yeah.
or Palestinian in Gaza. So yeah, this is mad. I totally agree about this is the future. We are I'm here. And since I arrived here, many things changed in academia. And a doctor here, when I was speaking about the burden of my assignment, he said, use a ChatGPT.
Oh,
It will
okay.
help. It will help. And yeah, it helps.
It does.
Yeah, it helps. They are seeing the brighter face of it. They are seeing the good face of
They
it,
don't see it.
of
Yeah.
AI. And each time I see all of this AI, like apps or oriented apps, built apps, backed apps, I think about its dark and most dangerous face that the world still didn't see. And yeah, as you said, it's not guaranteed. It will not only be Gaza who suffered the yeah the madness of
Yeah.
AI, the bad use of it, um, the evil development of it. It will not be only Gaza, and if it will not be a huge campaign or awareness or advocacy, these sci-fi films one day they will become reality, and
They started in
it's
Gaza.
yeah, and you can think of the movie Terminator. Terminator, when the human beings are going to fight against machines and against machines that will be built by AI. Um, I don't see that as an impossible thing or as a sci-fi.
Yeah, it's a far away. Now
Yeah,
it's so close than
yes,
we ever expected.
yeah, it's a reality, and yeah, they were shouting like dogs at nights. They were saying very mean phrases in a tents filled with women and children. They were these quadcopters, which is AI driven. Also, I'm not that experienced in AI, but we heard about this lavender,
Yeah.
the use of lavender, the use of gospel, and my understanding
And
on
where is
that.
Daddy?
Yeah, and my understanding on that, they use these AI apps, which like in a milliseconds will do like probabilities and possibilities about a target being there, and then a human being is approving that result that come from the AI, and target that human target
Yeah.
while killing like 400, 500 innocent civilians around him. So yeah, these AI techniques um, are scary, are making me pessimistic about the future, um, and about the degree that human beings can go so, can go that evil.
Unfortunately. But could you tell us more about your experience evacuating out of Gaza as one of the students? I think now you're about 100 students who have been evacuated to study in the UK.
Yes. Yeah. Um, um, I refused to apply for school. Like applying again to a scholarship was always my goal, and this is also me and Maisara were always like in jokes speaking about it, like about going back here to study to be grouped here again.
Yeah.
I like in February, our friend in Italy, you know him very well. I'm not going.
Okay.
Yeah, sent me, and also you sent me that link. He sent me, and you sent me that link for a scholarship opportunity there, and it was guaranteed. Like it was hugely guaranteed, but I refused to apply for it because at that time I was like, I would say I lost hope about the essence of all of this knowledge. Um, I lost hope about the future. So I didn't apply. And when it continued, like many things were happening, and I was seeing that there might be also still hope. When we were seeing this movement in universities
Yeah.
of KCL making scholarship for Maisara,
Yeah.
of universities builds scholarship schemes for Palestinians from Gaza or Palestinians as a whole, based on advocacy campaigns and these encampments. I felt that there is still hope, and although change is might be so long, might costly, of course, but yeah, maybe it's going to happen. So I applied for the second year. I applied late 2024, got the result, as I said, March 25,
Yeah.
and okay, I received the result. I received the award. What should I do now? And one of the most beautiful souls and human beings I've ever knew, she is British. She was also like friend of all of like of many of us, the Palestinians here. Sent me a link for like a Google form
Yeah.
for a campaign, and she said there are two students who started to organize like a kind of campaign, and like I was happy and motivated that one of them I knew, like a name I knew, and I contacted him, and I knew him like just a few weeks before the war. While I was in Gaza, he approached me about like he was considering applying for evening scholarship. And he approached me. We sat in a cafe in Gaza, like, and discussed about like his opportunities and answering his questions about application. And I was happy that he was successful getting the scholarship. We were doing that in Gaza, like as part of for us as a community, like
Yeah.
achieving community, not mainly for promoting the achieving. Promoting achieving was one of them because I have my concerns right now, but because we love that as a community and
Education and
education, yes,
opportunities and all
yeah,
of
and
that. Yeah.
it's opportunity also, and yeah, it's provided through achieving. So and also it's with the director of the Gaza office, like our close also special relationship with him. So all of these were motivating us, and because of that, we were known to students in Gaza. They were approaching us, asking about each evening. So yeah, I contacted them, and like it was very beginning their work, and I made my input, and they were doing a great job. Uh, like it officially started in March.
The campaign, yeah.
Yes, we met with Dr. Hussam Zomlot. One of the first things we did, we arranged that meeting, and we said that we now have a list. We want your responsibility on this, and he promised he would help as much as he can. That was March. Then we were extending and expanding. There was also British advocates here who were supporting and organizing this. They did a great job. I also invited friends. I also reached out to you, reached out to Ahmad, Omar, other British friends, lecturers at KCL. And one of the things we were able to do is that through the help of the Gazan community here, we were successful of bringing a legal company
Nice.
to advocate, like to make a legal case against the Home Office for the students because they were not able, like the excuse was
The visa, biometric.
biometrics.
Yeah.
We cannot do biometrics, and it's no one can do biometrics because it's closed. And after that, it was the building was targeted
Yeah.
since October 7th.
Yeah.
So we cannot do the biometrics. So they decided to go for a legal case against the government, the
yeah.
Home Office. At the beginning, we were hesitant on that because we had this fear that this might be like trigger the government
Yeah.
or sense it in a wrong way, but we were encouraged to do so. If it's legal or it's just, you
It's
will
your
get
right.
it.
Yeah.
Yeah. If it's not, it's not. So this is the thing how it's going here. So yeah, we didn't pay anything, but as I told you, like the Gazan community here, friends here, got all of that, and they made legal cases for like for the first 40 students, like
Nice.
case by case.
Wow.
Yeah, on a legal way. At the same time, we were applying for a visa, and also there was a great Palestinian friend here, who was Ahmed, who was reviewing visa applications for all the applicants,
Wow.
like application by application. And this is very boring,
Bureaucratic.
time-consuming
Yeah.
process. He has his life, his work, but he did that for the whole students. And there was like these two friends in Gaza filling the sheets, two advocates here, contacting and communicating. I was in close contact with the Palestinian embassy here. We're in close contact with the UK Jerusalem, with the director of Gaza office, and also with the friends here in the UK. Like we were working like day and night without any hesitancy, although we were think it would be impossible.
Yeah. When was the decision made?
Late August.
Okay, nice.
So
yeah.
what happened is that I'm going to mention this here. Like sometimes during this long processes, it doesn't really matter, like the manual work you put in, and what matters is maybe a word that give you hope or supported you to continue the things you are doing. Because at times we lost hope. And there were people who were pushing up by providing like us these let's say emotional support,
Yeah.
cognitive support. This I remember that this British friend, again, she like in each of her messages, she were saying, "We will get you out. We will get stay healthy, stay safe. We will get you out. We like and it's stay and like despite all the odds, because we were taking it now very close with the government. We have seen how much the government is strict, and we were sensing that it would be impossible. But each time she was saying this, like it was hopeful. And
Collective sumud.
yes,
Yeah.
and this is also thing that I was doing. Like the other two were like hardworking, filling the sheets, etc., which is very important. But at the group, like most of the time, even if I lost hope, but I was trying to be hopeful.
Yeah.
Because this is a thing I learned from my profession, from my work in the mental health. Sometimes when you are out of hope or losing hope, giving hope to people is giving you hope. And um, giving hope at these difficult situations at times equals putting like a practical or manual effort. So this is a thing that we should not forget. And this is a message especially for Palestinians. We should not forget people who stand with us at difficult moments, trying to group us emotionally and give us hope. It would be more important than computer work, people work, and all of this our other work. And very unique, very, as I said, I told about targeting of our of like the tent beside us. It happened in August. Before going to that, so we were going on a legal way, and we went through social media or stream media way and academic way, like these parallel
Yeah.
lines.
Beautiful.
This, and I believe that was the transforming moment for our campaign. The transforming moment was when the government sensed that these are not only just a group of students,
Yeah.
these are backed students with many people, Palestinians, British, international advocates are supporting them. I believe that the government sensed that because we were going carefully, mindfully, in a smart way. At times we had our challenges, we had our obstacles, disagreements, but the big picture that this is a well structured movement.
Yeah.
Yeah, as I said, there were cases against the Home Office, legal cases. There was social media campaign, which was amazing.
Yeah.
Like all of the student societies across, we reached the most senior, like I think an US National Union of Students across the UK, and academic route and parliamentary route. And we reached two things. We reached one of the most amazing parliamentary members, MPs, Abtisam Muhammad in Sheffield.
Yeah.
He did like very huge effort, amazing effort of advocating for us inside the parliament. And the third thing is she got us at the Home Office lobby. And there were two people with Dr. Hussam Zumlot lobbying through this direction
For the students to be evacuated.
for the students to be evacuating. Yeah. So also Marwan Yari from the embassy.
Yeah.
It is also closely working, was closely working on this. But Dr. Hussam was involved in this lobbying. Like I think it's named Home Office Lobby, as I remember. But yeah, through this outstanding, honest human being, she's Palestinian, not from Gaza. That was amazed. That was the beautiful thing, is that you think Palestinians only from Gaza who are like involved in this. But yeah, she also remembered us that it's the issue of all of the Palestinians. So yeah, that was that parliamentary movement and academic movement. An academic movement, we were successful of getting a petition signed by more than 6,000 academics across the UK.
Wow.
Professors, lecturers, academics, and also thousands and thousands of students demanding for the evacuation of Gaza students from Gaza Strip. So that was legal line, parliamentary line, academic line, and social and stream media line. For social and stream media line, we I volunteered to be among the first because because I had the experience of writing at the Guardian, Middle East Eye, Al Jazeera English, and you have to be aware and careful when speaking in these platforms. I volunteered on that just to encourage the other students who were hesitant. We had the students who were motivated and want to do that because they said we will lose nothing, and we have students who were hesitant. And when the first article published at Telegraph, many of them were encouraged. Like at times, Guardians till the leak from the BBC happened. So all in all, giving all of this journey, we were successfully being able to receive the evacuation email late August, early September. Last thing on this. I don't believe in coincidences or chances, but we were having a call with the Palestinian embassy in London around 1 p.m. 22nd of August. So I was out of my tent, just went 15 meters. My mom was making food, it was a Friday, was making lunch, and sit behind her trying to catch internet to attend to the meeting.
Yeah.
Then this friend here at the Palestinian embassy called me and he said that the government decided to evacuate achieving students. And if you can write points of argument, argument points, if you can think about it and send us to me so that we can present them as an argument against that decision. And I was thinking about these points. I wrote about 5 to 6 points.
Okay.
First point, I expected from the beginning that achieving scholars would be evacuated, and I asked for the achieving alumni to be treated and for all the students. But I expected from the very first day that achieving alumni will be evacuated. I kept the other friends at the campaign this. So I wrote these five points. First of all, this is unfair and just criteria.
Yeah.
Because you were achieving, I'm achieving, inside the classroom.
We're all students.
It's indifferent.
It doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter.
Scholarship you have, yeah.
It's you are achieving, Saeed, Ibseso, self-funding, aliens are funding you. It doesn't matter. You are sitting in the classroom beside other students. So this is the first thing. The second thing is that most of the UK universities are public universities, which means they get funds from the government. And these scholarships are provided by the government by default governmental scholarships, because they receive their funds from the government. So if achieving is going to be chosen as a governmental scholarships, these are also governmental scholarships. The third point is that this is something make the UK government is living in another planet. What's the essence of evacuating just 9 students while there are students who maybe went through more competitive schemes? Okay, another point, achieving scholarship is it's just for master's degree.
Yeah.
What about PhD studentships?
Undergrads.
Yeah. Why should masters be picked? So that was also the fourth point. The fifth point was that UK always said that they and we have seen this through achieving, they are supporting the Palestinian educational system. So achieving, Hisbal, all of these funds, but now they are doing very selective
Yeah,
thing.
one of them, yeah.
in a very hard time. And I sent these argument points, and just a few minutes later, we have been targeted
Oh.
with all of that chaos.
Mm.
And
When your father and brother were
yeah,
injured.
my father was 3 meters from me, and
Oh my
I
God.
remember my brother Muhammad came running to me with his hand on his back, and he says, um, look what is in my bag, and he was injured. Like
Oh my God.
blood was oozing. I compressed his wound, went him to the gate of our farmland. Then heard my mother. My mother shouts that my father, who was beside me, he didn't exhibit any features, was injured
Oh.
with pelvis inlet and sharp nail that injured his small and large bowel intestines, and
Oh
he
God.
went explorative surgery that went 3 hours. And in
Are they
our way,
both
yeah,
fine
in
now?
our way to hospital, like amid that chaos, I was thinking about these points of argument. So I think I sent that voice note that telling that we have been targeted. I will not be able to follow up,
Oh God.
and that was a strange thing to do, because I was sitting by my side by my father in the ambulance, and sitting and
Two
sending
parallel worlds.
two parallel
Yeah.
worlds in one world. You were um, like if I didn't make that call asking for these points of argument, I would stay in my tent,
Yeah.
which is the closest tent to the targeted tent.
Oh.
When I came back from the hospital the second day, I saw it like with many, like tens of shrapnels.
Oh my God.
It's no longer valid to be in. This is the thing. And the other thing, I've been just away from my father. Like, I've been in this sitting, um, 2 meters, 3 meters away from death, in a world trying to secure opportunity in another world, who is not fully aware of that and is selecting which student is going to evacuate, or is still doing the double standards, or still
Bureaucracy,
bureaucracy.
resentment.
And the bureaucracy continued till the day of evacuation. And there's a joke we tell like the evacuees, do you confirm? Do you confirm that bureaucracy? Because each email, do you confirm, like you say, you
my
will be
God.
responsible of your safety. We are not responsible about anything. Do you confirm? Do you confirm? This is became a joke when we send each us on WhatsApp. Do you confirm? Do you confirm you received the message? Do you confirm you found accommodation? Do you confirm you got distinction? Do you confirm anything? It went a joke. And one of the things that happened, it's war. Gaza separated from West Bank. Not all of the students have their passports with them.
True.
So many of the students were either Cairo, Jordan, or West Bank, different cities. And my uncle is in West Bank. So I asked him if he can receive the passports of the students for the purpose, and also called the director of the UK Jerusalem, asking his help to deliver the passports to the British embassy, because we were asked for our passports to be either with us or to be delivered to the British embassy. They can bring it to the Karam Abu Salim crossing border at the day of evacuation. So I called my uncle. He grouped all of the passports with him in West Bank, and then the driver of the embassy came and took the passports. And the one was working on this UK departure email. I a strange thing happened. He was asking, "Do you have physical access to your passport?"
Okay.
Because I knew the UK mindset. I was responding like if we were learning English, like, what's your name? I will not say Bahzad, but will say my name is Bahzad. Um, do you love fish? I do love fish. Like, not yes or no. This is what we were learning. So I answered that was the question. Do you have physical access to your passport? No, I do not have physical access to my passport, literally. Then I was the only one who received the response. Then you have to ensure your passport is delivered to the British embassy in Jerusalem. So I wrote in the WhatsApp group, guys,
Very
you don't
dishonest.
have you for those of you who don't have passports with you. Do you receive that email? They said not. No, I advised to resend the email, and they sent back. We do not have we do not have physical access to our passport. Then they received all of them email like mine.
Send
Like
it to
if
the
I
embassy.
didn't
Yeah.
ask that question, it was supposed that my passport is with
It's with
me.
you, yeah.
Yeah, they were saying that my passport is in Ramallah or in Salfit or in Jordan. But the one who was operating on this, he doesn't know where's Ramallah. So, now you can imagine he doesn't know where's
Ah,
Ramallah, Salfit. Or so
okay, yeah.
he assumed that Ramallah is a place you can go to and take your passport and go to Karam Salim.
For you as a student
For
on
you, and
evacuation shuttle
yeah, the
bus.
context knowledge was like so this is the funny thing that happened. Then they received that email, and I started to collect to group the passports with my uncle, and I went back with another email. I said I have the passports of these students. There were 8 students, as I remember, and now they are ready to be delivered to the British Embassy in Jerusalem. So I was contacting the director of the UK Jerusalem in Gaza, and responding to this UK departure email, which appeared that the one operating on it is not from the UK Jerusalem in Palestine. I think it's in London or in Amman. And he like the answer was like, why do you have all of the passports with you? Then when I see the email, oh my God, what should I do? Like my family just survived. I'm working on this while waiting for accommodation. I just have few hours beside my father in the hospital, and
Make your
it's like,
search.
why do you have all of that? And the students explained that they don't have the physical access. He asked the students to send email consenting that you have your. I know consent issue is a mandatory issue, but you have to be aware of the context. You have to employ one who is aware of the context.
Yeah, not to send email by email for all students, just call them. Not all of them will have access to internet
It all,
and
and that
oh
happened
God, yeah.
like the night before the evacuation. They said confirm. We will confirm by night. There's no internet
Yeah,
not
internet, yeah.
on not 4G or 5G, no internet, no telecommunication in Gaza. If I didn't secure Wi-Fi, I will not receive these emails. And I went at 9 p.m., like amid dark, to like 150 meters away and ask our neighbor just to give me access just for a few minutes to check if I received the email or not, because I received it. I was asking my friends at the WhatsApp group, if you receive anything, just call me or send me SMS so I can go to get internet, because I didn't get internet in the place I'm in. This was the case of all the students. You would hear students like they were evacuated from Gaza City to Deir al-Balah, and their friends called them that the government sent the email, and they were like they just have been evacuated, displaced to Deir al-Balah,
Oh my God,
and
so
they left their families and went between tents looking for Wi-Fi
oh my
connection.
God, yeah.
This was very common among all among the group. Another point that we have to group at the middle area, Deir al-Balah, al-Madfa, around about at the 3 a.m.
Yeah, very dangerous timing.
Yeah, so and we have large number like of female students who have to travel the day before and to sleep that night. And the Balah is overcrowded. There's no places. So yeah, it was very dehumanizing way of evacuation. And when a student described it, like he's a doctor, and he's a surgeon. He said, for the first time in my life, I felt if I was a criminal,
Oh my God.
like going amid the dark, not fearing the people to see me for the word ones about to seem to do anything wrong. Everything should be quiet. If I was stealing, or if I was a criminal, at the same time, I am a very respected surgeon. at the hospital. All of the patients and their families were greeting me.
Yeah.
So he was speaking about this experience emotionally, very emotionally. Many female students were evacuated or displaced, like walked by foot, by barefoot,
In the
7
middle of the
kilometers from Gaza
night.
city
Oh my
to Deir
God.
al-Balah and spent the night there. Our friend in Deir al-Balah offered a place like four people. I was among them in his family flat. Another friend, the place they were working in, like the center, he invited, he took around like 15 of the
Oh
students
God. Yeah.
at that center. Other students were like sleeping some of them stayed awake night at Shuhada Al-Aqsa Hospital because they didn't have a place to go to. And then we started to group and collect at Al-Madfa roundabout at the 3 a.m. Then for me, that was the strange thing. I have to say goodbye to my family because I received just the email the day before. I went to do a dental check because I knew it's one of the most difficult things
Yeah.
here.
Very
So I
expensive
just
and
spent with
difficult
them
to
2
access.
hours after the dental,
Oh God.
yeah, when going to Deir al-Balah. Then we went back to Khan Yunis and stayed in Khan Yunis for more than 1.5 hours, just beside the tent of my family at 7 a.m. So why just not all of us grouped at this point? If we are
Yeah.
going to go why just
Exactly.
people from like Fish Fresh, which is the most
Yeah,
southern
yeah.
a place, or Khan Yunis, Al Mawasi, go to Deir al Balah by foot, um, or there no transportation, like it's foot or animal driven modes of transportation.
And they don't move in the night.
Yes. Then to Khan Yunis again. Then we are going through the red zone. And at the red zone, while we like that was the first time for me, like I've just passed 40 to 50 meters away from my demolished home
Oh God.
in the center of Khan Yunis city. I've seen the rebel
For the first time.
for the first time before the order of Khan Yunis to
After they've
evacuate.
taken
Yeah.
most of Khan Yunis, yeah.
Yes. And then to the red zone. I've been trained as a medical doctor in European Gaza Hospital. I know the area very well. Nothing is similar to what I've seen.
Oh my God.
It's desert, like the yellow sand.
Oh God.
That area is known with its famous beautiful buildings, villas,
Yeah.
modern, yeah.
And many farmlands.
Yes.
All
Yeah,
desert.
desert, yes. And we were going inside the red zones, and we passed by the army, um, um, between the tanks, and we reached Karim Abu Salim. At Karim Abu Salim, we have to wait. We have to wait. The weather was so hot. We have to wait inside the bus. They were playing with a quadcopter around the bus.
Oh
They
God.
were playing with it, making these sounds around us, around the bus. And one sad thing I've seen at Karam Abu Salim is the aid trucks.
Yeah.
We were suffering starvation.
Yeah, it was mid of the worst famine in
Yes.
Gaza.
And we have seen plain flowers and dates biscuits that can be enough for the entire population of the Gaza Strip,
Oh my God.
just distributed under the sun at Karam Abu Salim.
Not allowed to enter.
So yeah, we did through a security check in Karam Abu Salim, and then we met the staff from the British embassy. They were coming from Jerusalem and Ramallah, and then we directly went to Amman crossing border.
Alhamdulillah. Now we have you.
Yeah.
Now you're here.
Alhamdulillah, and yeah,
Alhamdulillah.
for us, like all of us did it. But till now, most of us are unsure about if that was the right decision or not. many of the students, was one of the most, if not the most, like one of the most difficult moments of their lives, agreeing to be evacuated here to UK, while their families are still there.
Yeah, and
We
some
had
of them are still having their
issues,
wives and
yes,
children
yes,
there.
issues with
And
dependents. Yes, issues with dependents. At our cohort, dependents were not allowed to travel, although by law they are legally
yeah,
allowed to apply for dependent visa. Some of them till now they are not coping. One of the students described that she didn't eat for 5 days in Amman except biscuits and chips because they felt so guilty and ashamed. Now she is in a better place with artists like
abundance of food.
yes, yes, and her family is not able to do that. So yes, this is one of the most difficult things that the students, I myself and my students, many of them are experiencing this huge transition after 2 years of genocide. Like the picture of fields, roads in Amman, these buildings, life is
The lights.
normal lights, normal life. Many of them described the electric switch, like
Yeah.
on off. It's light. Many of them describe the hot water.
Yeah, the water coming from
Yes.
the tap after 2 years
Yes,
of.
the hot water. Yes, I just like one of them said, I felt I'm in paradise. I
Oh
didn't
my
believe it.
God.
Like 2 years showering
Yeah.
with a very these basic or primitive tools like in a nylon a toilet or bathroom with all of the neighbors around you, and now they are in a 5-star hotel in Amman, trying to figure out this transition. And even after they have arrived here. So yeah,
The safety itself is
the
itself
says
very
yes,
difficult.
yes, yes,
The safety.
yes.
Thank you so much, Bahzad, for your time. It was our pleasure to have you here as a friend, but also as a survivor and a witness of everything that happened in Gaza for 2 years, but also as an expert in mental health. It was very important and painful conversation, but also very helpful. And you've given us many things to learn from and for the community to know how to do, what to do, and how they could be part of this collective support for the Palestinians. Thank you so much
Thank you.
for coming with us, and thank you for your time.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, Bahzad.